Love your hair.
You look great.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey,
Judea.
love you all. You now.
Hi.
Here we go.
Welcome everyone to tonight's incredible, wonderful worldwide community gathering. I am so excited to be here. I know I have really come to look forward to these, and they have been such anchors for me at this time. And I just love seeing all your faces, and I'm so ready to dive into this tonight and grow and learn together and expand and ground in our loving that we do so well at USM. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Ron and Mary, who I might have accidentally muted. Ah, there we go. Yay. Phew. All right. Have fun, everyone.
Thank you, Eliza. Welcome, everybody. We are so delighted to be with you. It's so fun when everything comes live and we see all your faces and hear you, feel your energy. It's just a joy. Do you want to call the light, Ron?
Sure, who wouldn't? I mean, all right. So, Lord God of all creation, we come before you this evening and experience the fullness that is present. And all we have to do is open to it and be willing. And we're just grateful for this opportunity to come together with like-hearted beings and other, what my teacher used to call kindred spirits. I like that. As we all move forward into this very interesting time that we're living in. And Lord, thy will be done, and so it is. So be it.
So be it.
All right, so let's see. Do I see Marco Rail here? Marco, can he unmute?
Yes. Hello, I'm here.
No, where is he? Oh, there he is.
Yes.
¿Cómo
Hi.
está?
What's up? Cheers from Austin.
Great to see you, Marco.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so
Well, how about if we
I
do
just
a
had to say that.
Yes, well, let's do a 5-minute peace meditation too, Ron. Just gives us all an opportunity to harmonize our energy. So I invite you to take in a nice deep breath, breathing it into your heart, breathe it fully into your being and into all levels of your consciousness, every cell in your body. And when you let that breath go, just release any tension, any concern that you may have been carrying through this time or day. Just releasing it into the light of the Holy Spirit, where there it may be transmuted and returned to the nothingness from which it came. During this meditation, not only is it an opportunity for us to open and to receive the light, to expand our capacity as a conduit of God's love and light and sound and healing grace. But also an opportunity for us to bless the planet, to bless all of humanity, all those who are challenged in any manner by the COVID-19 situation and circumstance. I think that pretty much includes all humanity and all of us. We're grateful for the grace. We're grateful for this time together, the opportunity to reflect on what loyalty to your soul means to each one of us individually and to all of us collectively during this time of COVID-19. We're grateful for a level of awakening and awareness of our divine nature that we have. And our intention is continuing to awaken, to become more aware of our divinity, of our souls, of what it means to be loyal to our souls through this time. And we wrap the planet and all life forms, all beings in beautiful purple and gold light. And our simple prayer is that peace and grace prevail. So be it.
So, we could have had some bells here.
All right, well, such an exciting time at USM since we last had a community gathering. We had our first Saturday of the second year, and this Saturday we'll have the second. And oh my gosh, it was just such a joy. The loving was so present. And it really, these gatherings had let us know that surely was our experience and very possible. And it was wonderful to be in the classroom, to be doing trios, to have large group sharing and just experience the blessings.
I think you're right. I think that was absolutely what happened. You know, I think the biggest learning, and one of the grads who was watching put it this way. I said, the medium didn't change the message. The medium didn't change the message. It went right through. And that's really been our experience with this thing. And what's really exciting about that, I mean, I imagine, or I suspect many of you are thinking the same thing that we're thinking. If this really moves in the direction it very likely could, then loyalty to your soul worldwide, here it comes. Because there's absolutely no reason to not do it. No reason to not do it. And so any of you who are out there somewhere in the world, if you have any desires that you would want to facilitate, if you would want to coordinate something like that in your area, just let me know, because it's no more do we have to book a venue and all of that kind of stuff. It's like it's wide open. It's the wild, wild west. It's wide open. So it's a very exciting time. Don't you think so?
I do. It's an incredibly exciting time because already we're learning things in the classroom about adjustments that need to be made in order to just work within that context and format. But what's beautiful is that the trios are so powerful, and there were students who had thought they didn't want to go forward with an online format, but some of them contacted Eliza following the weekend and decided they wanted to get back into the class, and we were delighted to have them. So this morning, this theme came through really strongly when we were talking with each other last week about what would be our topic. And this morning, Ron read a quote to me, and we said, oh my goodness, that is such a powerful quote. And it seemed like a good way to begin this conversation.
And it's a quote from David Hawkins. An extremely valuable insight that is learned by all spiritually evolved persons in the course of their development is seeing one's own personal consciousness as the decisive influence that determines all that occurs in one's life. Let me read that part again. Seeing one's own personal consciousness as the decisive influence that determines all that occurs in one's life. Of course, at USM, we'd say it's something like how you relate to the issue is the issue.
There's another quote that comes to mind that's very similar to what Ron read, and it was said by Max Planck, who was a Nobel Prize-winning laureate in the field of physics. And he said that consciousness is the building block of the universe. Consciousness is fundamental. And
you can't get behind consciousness. It's the basic context of everything. And of course, okay, right on.
So go ahead.
So the reason, of course, that's important now is because given what we're I don't like to say going through, that we're learning from, is this whole COVID business. It's at times like this when we get tested. While all of this is going on, as you go through every day, can you stay in your loving? Can you remain in your loving? Because, oh my God, there's certainly a lot of things going on that would tend to pull us out of it. But will we let it? Or will we say, this too shall pass? Lord, thy will be done. And I'm going to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So that's what we thought we would talk about this evening and take sharing about.
And part of what came forward for me as I was reflecting on this is just what an extraordinary time we're in, because I don't recall in my lifetime an experience that really affected all humanity in the way that this has, in all countries, all walks of life. And I remember many years ago, Bernie Siegel wrote a best-selling book called Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And one of the things he said in that book was that cancer was God's reset button. Cancer is God's reset button. And so that came to me today. I was just thinking about this, and it was like, wow, the coronavirus in many ways is potentially humanity's reset button. It's like, it's such an opportunity to really do our personal inquiry in terms of what is Spirit asking of me now? What is the opportunity that I'm aware of for myself? And as I look around, and it just lets, so many people have been answering the call in beautiful ways where great compassion, great strength of heart, great intentionality to serve others in the healthcare, in the area of food banks, and so on. And it's just been deeply moving, very, very inspiring. And in a way, it's almost like, will we hear the call, and will more of us start in a way moving in the same direction, the direction of loyalty to our souls and what that means for us individually, answering the higher call to know ourselves as the presence of love, and answering the call to recognize that we can be awake in that higher consciousness here on the planet as we live our lives, and that this place can be a place in which we can experience great joy, aliveness, and enthusiasm, and witness great beauty, the beauty of our own soul and the beauty of other souls as they're expressing it into the world as well. So this just seemed like such a powerful focus for our conversation tonight. And there may be a situation that you're dealing with where you're asking yourself the question, what would it mean for me to be loyal to my soul in this context, in this situation? But also perhaps ways that you're observing that you have been answering the call and find yourself in a higher vibrational frequency, more aware of your already open heart, more aware of your responding with kindness, with wisdom, with compassion. Any and all of this, we would love to just hear what your experiences are and respond to questions as well.
It's also just a good thing to hear what other people who have gone through many of the same experiences we have, namely USM, how are we all doing with it? Maybe we'll get some ideas from others that we've never thought of before. I mean, it's really an incredible time on this planet. I just keep being in awe of that one fact.
All right, so Julie, let's start with you.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Ron and Mary. It's
Hi,
been a
Julie.
while. It's really nice to see you both.
Yeah, you too.
Tonight is like the perfect theme because today, Dror and I launched a 5-week complimentary program called Healthy Political Conversations. And we basically shared with people, if I could say it in USM language, it would be like how do you move a political conversation forward without people being so much in upset? And how do you bring healing to that conversation? And how do you come together in that conversation? And how do you have more of a feeling of love in that conversation? And I'm just so excited because I shared about this years ago, but it just really didn't have much momentum. And we had 30 people sign up so far, and people were so excited on the call, and really being honest about how challenged they get in those types of conversations and what they're looking for in terms of shifting in their own consciousness. So I just wanted to share that because it feels really aligned with what you guys are saying, and I'm very super excited.
Yeah.
What a beautiful initiative, and what a wonderful thing that you're doing, inviting people into that conversation and inviting people to discover ways that rather than reacting, they can respond, that they can choose the note that they intend to sound. And to me, this is definitely one of the arenas where there's a tremendous opportunity for well, let's just say soul-centered leadership. Beautiful. Well, so happy to hear you and Dror are doing that. Thank you, Julie.
Tell them hi.
So she muted herself. But
All right, so let's see here. Arlene Steputat.
Hello.
Hi, Arlene.
First, I wanted to tell you, Mary, that I took your advice in our last sharing, and I've written several Psalms.
Oh, beautiful.
One about the harp, and others, they're just starting to come in. So that's been one way that I've been attuned to my higher calling. But one thing that's been beautiful and is that with everybody looking at death and dying and those numbers and all that, with Heartreach, we've done a 3-week class on completing your advanced healthcare directives and kind of befriending death and getting your questions asked and turning towards that thing that you're afraid of to embrace it. And so we did 2 sessions. Cheryl Matthew and I did 2 sessions through Heartreach, and we didn't know if anyone would even show up, you know, like, and we had 50 people online. And
Wow.
at the tail end of the last session, at the last minute, somebody wrote a chat in the chat box, could you do a Q&A? So we decided to just have an open session, and we did that this morning. And we weren't sure if anybody was going to show up for that. And we had 30 people on the chat, and people work through some of their issues. And it was just, for those of you who don't know, I'm a death doula. And so to be able to help people look at how to make ceremony when you're passing, and the beauty of what's possible and how to complete. And we had a beautiful video about a home funeral, and just really taking it and making it your own. I call it planning your last great party before you leave. So it seems that this has been an opportunity because people are more looking around their house and saying, well, it could happen to me, and I don't have I'm not ready. I don't have things in order. So it's just been a wonderful opportunity. And you know, I'm willing to help anybody because we just do it as service. So that's been great.
Beautiful. Well, I'm delighted to hear that these Psalms are coming through. That is really beautiful. And what a beautiful ministry you have, Arlene. What a beautiful way of serving. And in this time when we're so aware of all those that are transitioning from the planet, it's a powerful conversation.
It is.
And part of what I love is not only helping people become more prepared for their own transition, but also the conversations that make you more aware of death as an ally.
Right, right. It is. I mean, we all walk with death, and that's something I learned in my life at a very young age. And it's really, it makes every day sweet. It makes every day precious, and you don't waste your, I mean, yes, I get in upset now and then, but I have the tools. And I don't spend much time in upset. I just go right to my toolkit and like get past that. And it's been amazing to work with people and have them see the possibilities, like their creativity is coming forward and options that they didn't even think about. So I agree, Mary. It's my joy to live my ministry of service. I really am. I'm the happiest ever when I'm doing that. So
Beautiful.
It's another opportunity. Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you, Arlene.
Left to Elliot.
Yeah, he's out there.
Beautiful. All right, let's see, Kameen, just below.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi, so good,
Kameen.
so good to see you both and everyone here. I just wanted to thank you both for the work that you have done and the influence on my life. I have found this, I told all of my clients, I've never been busier in my coaching practice. I had to really been hoping for people to not continue just because it's such a rich time. Because I really hold this time from the work that you have taught me is this is the most creative time in history. And
Yes.
we need more innovation, more inventions than ever possible. We're going to need new filters for buildings and airplanes and new ways of doing things. And from the perspective of USM, it's like, there are two children who live next door, and when this happened, I could really see the children's eyes, like, as a part of this pandemic, they're like, I've got my parents just where I want them now, because they had to come home, and so I really see this as a time when education has to change. Everything has to change, and we can look at it as, obviously there's, my heart goes out to those who are deeply affected. And the other side of this is that there are two questions immediately I asked all of my clients, which were, how is this a blessing? And what was if this is an answer to an unconscious prayer, what was it? And what are you awakening to?
That's
and
beautiful.
So I've never used my whiteboard so much to draw the soul line, goal line, and really talk to people about who they are being during this time. So I just wanted to thank you, because it really, the work we got to do in USM just allowed it to just keep up leveling during this period of time, and to hold it different than, and Ron always said, when we do the compassion and self-forgiveness, we have no idea what this is about, but we
That's
can
right.
take ownership of what it is on our end of what we can control. And so
Well,
I just love you and bless you.
Well, I love what you're sharing, just that last, all of it, but that last little piece that you said about the ownership, taking ownership of whatever is disturbing our peace inside of us, and working to clarify what is that really about in consciousness? What are the misunderstandings, misbeliefs, judgments that I can release? And it's like, every time we release one, Ron has used the metaphor, it's like weights that are holding us down. And when we release one of those weights, it's like we rise up to a greater level of awareness, of loving, of wisdom, of joy, of service. And I just love hearing all that you are sharing and doing, Kameen.
Well, and I love that it gives for loyalty to your soul, it just opens up. Like I've been talking with a lot of clients about their work now goes beyond borders. So it goes
Yes.
beyond the classroom. It goes beyond people having to travel to have it. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for even the demonstration of this evolution of what you all
Beautiful.
do.
Thank you. Thank you, Kameen. Kelly Garnett.
Hi, Ron and Mary. It's so good to
Hi,
see
Kelly.
you. I was praying you were going to call me after Kameen because I was just seething as she was doing her wonderful, beautiful share about the opportunity for standing up and creating. And I am a teacher, second grade teacher, and since USM, I think it was the second half of first year, I realized that I love coaching and that's my calling and that is what fills my soul with joy. And I've been working to become a love coach while being a full-time teacher. And so when this was first happening, I thought, oh, this is going to be so perfect. I'll teach till like noon and then I'll be able to focus on my coaching and really get to create and do all those things that I've been so yearning to do for so long. And it's been the exact opposite because it has taken teaching. I didn't think this job could get any harder. And it's taken it to a whole nother level of expectations and what's required of me behind the scenes. And I'm not even teaching the kids, you know, one-on-one or in the classroom anymore. And now the parents are doing it. But all the paperwork and all the accountability that I have has just skyrocketed. And all these coaches were like, oh my gosh, my business is amazing. And I'm getting to do this and that. And I'm like, I want to be playing with you guys. Thank God my principal has shortened the year by 2 weeks. So that's wonderful. But then a girlfriend of mine said, hey, would you be willing to work with my daughter this summer? And other parents have come up and asked me that. So now I'm creating a summer program that I'm going to teach. And I'm excited. I love one-on-one or small group. That's my favorite anyway. But I feel like the more I struggle to release this job that I keep getting better at, that I keep having more elevation and respect, and I know I'm of service and it's amazing, but I just feel like my soul is like, oh, come on, you've got so much more to give in the world. This is too finite for you. And so it's been really quite a struggle, and being home, trying to work through all that. And, you know, school is definitely in session. I don't know if you have any feedback.
My encouragement is, it's so interesting because this morning, one of the staff sent me a little message, and the message was bloom where you're planted. Bloom where you're planted. And I remember when we were still living in New Mexico, this is of course more than 40 years ago, and I was completing my time on the faculty at the university there, where I had been teaching for 7 years. And I remember the students, part of their going away gift to me was they had created just this wonderful sweatshirt, and it had the most beautiful flowers on it. And what it said was bloom where you're planted.
No way.
Yes, because at that time, I just really, we had no idea exactly, we had no idea really what our future professional life would be. And I just encourage you, my sense is the more you can come into authentic acceptance and finding the joy in what you're doing, the more grace will be present. And if you're challenged finding the acceptance and you find yourself in the angst or the frustration, in the dilemma of it, I just encourage you in prayer, honestly, Kelly, to ask for Spirit's grace to assist you in accepting that which the situation and the work that you are doing, because the more you can be at peace with that, the more the path forward will clarify.
And I have done that. I'm back teaching in my roots of Catholic school education, and making that decision was one of the greatest decisions I could have made, because I can, within context, speak very openly about this work and spirituality. So that has been incredible. The families are amazing. It's all been wonderful for what it is. It's just this time in particular has put that flashlight of like, see, you still don't get to do that. And I'm like, oh, but I want to.
Well, it's like it's not your soul that is going to go into disturbance.
Mm,
It's the ego.
thank you. That's what I needed to hear.
And I just encourage you to what comes to me really is to have a gestalt, to have a little conversation with Spirit
Okay.
about what the purpose of your being where you are and serving in the way that you are at this time is.
Okay.
You may find that some beautiful higher wisdom and guidance comes through, Kelly,
Okay.
that just will assist in providing a little different frame of reference or context for this. And I really do hear you, that you are called as a love coach. And by all means, I send blessings of light and loving to the unfoldments of that in Spirit's timing for you. And these are ways that you may be able to assist yourself in gaining that sense of purpose and meaning in what you're doing here and now with these young children.
Thank you. Okay.
Much love to you, Kelly.
Thank you. Same to you. So good to see you.
It's wonderful to see you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's see. Ryan.
Let's get to Charlie again.
Hey guys,
Hi, Ryan.
good to see you.
Great
You
to
too.
see you too.
I experienced a really interesting, grateful moment. I appreciate the purple you guys are rocking tonight. It looks awesome.
Thank you.
And it was just funny because I was like, wow, it's so nice to be grateful for something so simple, you know? Man, since finishing practicum in August, school has been in session nonstop for me. It's like their school was definitely in session during USM, but wow, like it just skyrocketed since then. And a lot of growth has been happening. And then this has been part of the journey for me. But what's been really, really present for me lately is like a real deepening in compassion, or at least the opportunity. And I'm experiencing growth in compassion, like beyond just an intellectual understanding of it, because I have a tendency to be very, very up in here. And even though I've been, I can always feel my heart too, but have a tendency to live in here. So to experience a deepening in compassion is really a beautiful thing for me. And not compassion for myself, but compassion for all humanity. And during this whole COVID thing, my self-care has increased significantly. I feel, although I definitely have experiences of trigger and upset, overall, I feel I'm doing a pretty good job of being loyal to my soul. But it's a good question I can ask myself: how can I deepen in loyalty to my soul? Yeah, a lot of my practices, I've had a lot of spiritual practices that have carried over. I wake up and I call in the light, and I meditate, and I meditate later on in the day. I do bedtime intentions, and I do a small meditation before going to sleep. My exercise, what's really funny about this is I've spent more time outside since this has happened than I used to before. So there's like a little park. It's not really a park, but they call it a park. It's a big roundabout. It's about 1/6 of a mile. And it's the only really grass and trees in my neighborhood. But I go there and I stretch, or I do like high intensity training, or I've been running a lot. I actually ran 8 miles last night.
Wow.
I don't know how. I'm just like, Spirit, run me. Okay. And it does. So, I'm actually, it's been a 4-year process for me, but I'm down about 90 pounds. I've released 90 pounds over the past 4 years.
Wow.
And, it's still kind of like, it's just, I haven't gained any weight during COVID. That's pretty amazing. I've lost a little bit. But I'm also working on my project still from year 2, which is called the Wake Up Experience. And the work that I had been doing to make money was I had been DJing and hosting karaoke in bars, which is a scene that has never really resonated with me. Just the energy of that, and people, getting drunk and being stupid and stuff like that. So I feel this has been a prayer of mine that is kind of answered, to have a break from that and to be able to do, like, really focus on work that like resonates with me on a deeper level. And somehow I haven't been worried about money, even though I haven't made money in 3 months now. I received my stimulus check recently, like last week. So that's the only money I've made in 3 months, but I haven't really been worried about it. Like I have a deeper trust, and I'm also really accepting that I don't know, and I don't need to know. That's really offering me a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
And every time I think I know, I find out that I didn't know. And I've been having more clear communication with Spirit. I asked God, I said, God, please, because like, you guys remember from some of my shares, I experience deep suffering at times. I experienced a lot of upset, deep suffering. And during one of my moments, I was pleading, please tell me what is the ultimate truth so I can just be okay. And the answer I received was, there is no ultimate truth. And that resonated so deeply with me, because it helped me understand that I create my own reality. That's basically how I interpreted that. And we all create our own reality, and it's okay if my reality is different than somebody else's. And that's really served me a lot. Along with, while I'm running, all these messages come to me. I've been struggling. I've been vegan for 4 years, and that is something that I struggle with on a deep level of like, just having an awareness of how we treat other sentient beings on the planet. And I had this realization that, okay, what's the difference? Like, as we talk about in USM, the difference in our experience is our lens of perception, right? So I'm no more or less important. That's something I've been praying for, to have the experience of being one, of being equal, of being connected. I've always often have looked at myself as less than, and I've been afraid to own my power, because I've always been afraid that I would go on the flip side and then start seeing myself as better than. And I don't want any of that in my consciousness. So I pray for that regularly. And I had this really beautiful experience of where, wow, it's just the lens. It's just this body and this mind that's giving me this experience, because beyond that is love, and beyond that is consciousness, which connects all of us. So I had this realization, like, I'm no more important than even a single blade of grass. Like everything is here and we're all playing a role. And that took me to a real experience of deep gratitude that I haven't had in a long time, because I sometimes am like, oh, I wish I wasn't human, or I wish I wasn't on this planet, or I'm ready to go, take me. And, but then, you know, this is a blessing. Being human is a blessing. Like, what a beautiful experience, because I get to be the observer as a human. I get to witness, like, whereas even animals, they don't, or a grass or a tree. It's all beautiful, but I don't know. I'm learning a lot, and I know I'm rambling, but there's just a lot going on, and it's really nice to be here, and I appreciate the community. And oh, can I just say one last quick thing? I don't know if this is just for me. I don't imagine it is, but I feel like what COVID is providing us is not just an opportunity to survive, but I feel like it's really giving us an opportunity to thrive in many, many ways. Something that's becoming really, really present for me is more simple living. Like our way of doing things and our system has really set us up for challenge and struggle. And I think if we go back to simple ways of living, like growing our own food, or having, like, you know, more local farms, stuff like that, that's really going to provide us a lot of freedom and being more in touch with nature. So I think this is a beautiful gift, even though it's definitely challenging.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Charlie.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Charlie.
You calling me? There's not another Charlie, just this Charlie.
That's right.
It's lovely to see you both.
You too.
You know, I graduated in 2000 for everyone that's on the thing. And I came into USM in chaos. And ever since, I've been aware of moving through chaotic emergence to authentic expression and, you know, the loyalty of my soul. And being able to be equipped by USM and by all the friends at USM, going out into the world with words like The Well of Grief by David White.
Yeah.
Yes.
And being able to reach down into that well and pick up the coins. And ever since, you know, the loyalty of my heart and soul has sort of come into alignment. I slip every day because I went from creation to childhood to confusion to conflict to compromise, rattled around, and occasionally had crisis. There's what I know, and what I don't know, I know, which only God knows. I stretch like all of us, and this period of the last few months has given me and my wife and partners an understanding of what's serving us, what isn't serving us, discarding the old, which is painful always, allowing the new to emerge. I think you know that we've been fortunate. We realized a few years ago that by 2050, there'll probably be 10 or 11 billion people on the planet, unless a virus came and wiped off a few billion. And how do we feed, you know, 10 or 11 billion people? And I think, you know, we're in about 5,000 stores with certain products, and we're on a tear for flowers that don't require a lot of irrigation. We think the world is pressured through irrigation and food production. So we're very blessed, you know, with what we're doing. And there's so much that's come forward through the last couple of months. At the same time, I think, you know, we own hotels, and some of them are in countries that don't have bailouts or furloughs. And so we sustain our staff that are closed, you know, and figure out how to feed a lot of people every day without discarding them, hoping that things will open again a different way, but they'll open again. And so there was a lady that spoke a couple of minutes ago, and you shared about spirit. And I wrote a poem when I was with you. You know, I did a theory of counseling called Mandela Theory of Counseling, based on Marianne Williamson's words. 5 years later, I went into Nelson Mandela's home as executive director of his last nonprofit, told him all about the theory of counseling, and he said, well, I actually didn't say the words that Marianne was attributed to me. And if you want to go on my nonprofit foundation, you'll see that I never said the words, and just direct everyone to Marianne Williamson. Mandela said that to me, you know, 5 years after being with you, as my positive projection in my chaos. I'm at his feet in Mozambique, trying to figure out how to feed hundreds of thousands of people and clear landmines. So it's pretty amazing. But I wrote a poem because part of my practicum was writing poetry. Another part was playing the mandolin, because if you remember, Cher never used to call me creative. And so I thought, well, I'd prove everyone wrong. And so I thought I'd learn a musical instrument, but my hands are small and I couldn't learn the mandolin. I'd make up all sorts of excuses not to play it. But I did write poetry, and could I just say a poem that I wrote during this period?
Yes.
Of course.
Thank you. It's called Mystery. Mystery is as mystery does. Spirit holy, Holy Spirit. Mystery does as mystery is, revealing whose will may be done. What mystery signs is central within us, purposing out of times where we peripheral strayed. Mystery has never slept, as its wisdom whispers, breathing life despite our forebearers' turbulent wake. Mystery has no limit, unlike minds, where color or creed or age or ages have laid their minds. Mystery has no barriers in the wake of minds that separated geography and gender, dogma and exchange. Where is this mystery then that has no judgment, of judging judgment as I am? Where is this mystery then that has no grasping past or future fears, viced only by my life's comprehension? Mystery reveals itself in faithful moments, how being is to be, rather than expecting, doing not to be. To be is a mystery, and yet it is not. Mystery is in a question. Befriending mystery is the question. And where in the vulnerability of this question, I'm more able to say yes to a mysterious appearance. Again, divine whispers, I am mystery. I am mystery within you. Imagine this. Imagine me. Mystery uttering spirit's voice, not revealed to you until now, until now, until now. Holy Spirit, being light, let it be, let I be. Wondrously are you now gifting mystery to another, your friend, your foe, a stranger, turning your own being and sense creation divine. Ask with no abandon what shall be given. Why hide ever again, my reawakening child, my awakening friend? And once mysteriously awoken, can you ever sleep? And if you do, is you awake mysteriously in peace? I am that you can be, as mysterious to another as mystery is to you. I am grateful that you can be, and you are that I can be, resoundingly voicing its whispered truth. As mystery does, is as mystery does. How mystery does is how mystery is, and it is. And so I am. Mystery, thy will be done.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And that,
You know, mystery brings us into the mystical, and I really see it's doing that with you.
I bless you both as always. I love you both massively.
Wonderful.
I'll see you. Oh, and Ronnie, the space is open in Malibu in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So we'll be looking after you.
All right.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thank you,
All right.
Charlie. Thank
Bless you
you.
both.
Bless you. Ravi,
Where is he?
Yeah. you just
down a
spoke.
little. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Ravi.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. I guess the good thing is I've been really seeing this as an opportunity to awaken. And, since last year, since about this time last year, I've been going through this period where I broke up with this woman and life just did not feel the same. And there was just so much energy around it. And it's been this really weird situation where, that relationship has been looping, and then all this anger has just been coming out. And I've been freeform writing a lot, like almost every day. And then after that, listening to the John Roger forgiveness interphasing. And sometimes it'll be like 100 pages of just like yelling and ripping and it's coming out towards a dog, not my dog. But it's coming out towards this dog. And I've recognized that it's me seeing myself in this dog and this anger that I'm harboring towards my little self for not being who I thought he should be. And it's starting to really unfold. And it's really mystical and it's really beautiful, because like a few nights ago, I sort of felt this green energy beside me. And then last night when I was dreaming, I felt these two hands on the left side of my body just flooding me with green energy. And so I guess it's interesting because at times I'm feeling upset, but now I'm not. I'm just in acceptance of it. And I'm very curious as to what's going on. Because it's so interesting to me, because it's like all these different components and all these different feelings and emotions, and it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, just everything going on in life for me as everybody else. But I'm now very curious.
Did you indicate that it was past?
In which way?
Does it seem complete for you, whatever the experience was all about?
No, it doesn't seem complete. Well, it's shifting. I can say it that way, because it does seem like it's really shifting.
Yeah.
And it does seem like happiness is starting to come through. And I know it really relates to worthiness. I can really see that, because in this relationship, I feel like I gave away all of my power, if you will, and it was a very dark situation. And I'm feeling good about it. And I guess I'm just also perplexed as what's happening, because I've not had experiences like this. And the level of anger and rage I felt, like at a little cute dog, I just can't imagine it. It's just all these different components, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? But I guess the good thing is I do feel it lifting and clearing and lighter, and I do feel a lot of good coming up.
See, my recommendation would be that you just keep going in that direction. And this may sound strange, but I'd really suggest that you don't spend a lot of time trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is moving in that direction. So part of me is stopping to think about it and really focusing on being present. And then, when the looping of my ex-girlfriend does come up, then, then I do go into pain. But even then, I'm trying to just sit with myself and be present, as opposed to trying to fix it. And
Yes. And what Ron is saying in terms of what's really important in a process like what you're describing is the intention to let it go.
Mm.
The intention to let it go and to not obsess about it or try to rethink it. And I would suggest an additional or an alternate practice for you.
That would be great.
And that would be the practice of dialoguing with love.
Hmm.
It's like asking, you can ask any question of love, and you can simply listen to love and see what love has to say.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, how sweet.
Yeah, my little baby.
Yeah, yeah. So, yes, and it's so interesting that your dog appeared as we were speaking about love.
Yeah,
Obviously, this little dog is the presence of love.
he is. Him and his sister are like,
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
I call him my love. I call him the love.
Yes. Yeah. So I encourage you in gestalting with the love. And,
That's great.
and the reason I say this is sometimes the consciousness can, as you, I think, alluded to, get into a loop with something.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a good idea to kind of then let that be. There's been lightning. You've been working with the forgiveness. And forgiveness is a huge, huge key. Huge. And it's interesting, though, the cycles we can get into where we can be engaging in ways that subtly hold us into the unworthiness, hold us into the judgment that we're not lovable. And sometimes maybe it's a good idea to just set that aside for a period. And go ahead, Robbie.
No, that feels very true. And yeah, I think, I feel like it's almost become habitual.
Yes.
And that's been a big part of it. And that's been just over the last few days after sort of the extensive freeform writing. It's been like, as Ron said, trying not to focus on it and trying not to be part of it. But it is like, I do feel like in the morning when I wake up, it does start to tug at me. Yes.
Well, and the thing that's interesting about anger also is that it can be addictive. It can be addictive. And so this can be a way of shifting gears, shifting your focus, and opening up really into an expanded awareness of the presence of love, and that love is always present, always available. Love loves you, and that you are lovable, and that you are worthy. Your worthiness is not something you need to provide evidence for or earn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's so interesting because I feel like during this COVID experience, it's been my deepest experience. It's been my deepest personal experience. And, I don't think I've cried so much in my whole life. And the depths of surrender to God, like I've not been where I've been like, God, I need you to help me. I have been, but the extent and the depth of it this time, it's never been. And I do recognize it as a very big release. And I'm very clear on that.
Beautiful. I just encourage you in a daily practice of what God or love has to share with you. And whatever question, whatever prompt comes forward to begin that, sometimes it'll just be a prayer calling in the light and then just opening up for what comes through. So my message really is one of just love and encouragement to you, Robin.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about Selene?
Mary.
Hi there.
How are you, Ron and Mary?
Wonderful.
We're good.
And you're in Uruguay, right?
Yes, I'm in Uruguay sitting on my bed. And just the reason why I put up my hand was because I don't know where other people are watching you, but I have to tell you that watching you from South America is such an extraordinary thing. It's such an event. It's so absolutely lovely. So I wanted to thank you for that, for doing these meetings. They're amazing for me. It's a privilege. It's a joyful occasion. And I have to say, regarding this whole situation in Uruguay, it's been pretty easy. We've done quite well so far, and we hope to continue that. And for me, it's also been sort of a privilege to be going through this time in life. Like you said at the beginning, Mary, you've never seen something that affected the whole world. To me, it's like, I don't know what's coming, of course, but there is a shift, and to be part of it seems like a gift, like an opportunity. So I'm very excited by it, and I haven't been doing huge things with this, except I've been working quite a bit and increasing my level of intimacy with Martin and with Clara and with my grandson, who is now 5. And I've been taking care of him personally, which I never did before, because it's an effort for me, but it's an effort that has paid off so much. It's been just a wonderful experience, to see Manu growing to he's 5. He's adorable. I never had with Martin this kind of relationship, so close, so intimate, so exciting. So that's about it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Please do something that we can participate in Uruguay. I'm there whenever you can.
Well, beautiful. The thing that's wonderful about the online is that just as you are participating here this evening, we can do an event for new people or for grads, and people from around the world can choose to participate. You know, it's not limited just to one locale any longer. You know, with people meeting.
No, and for me to see you two right there, it's like if I was sitting at USM, at the down there in the so I can see that this can be an experience that can be wonderful. The idea of expansion and of participating. So let me know.
Stay tuned. You'll be hearing more.
I love you so much. That's so great to see you guys. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Love you too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's see. How about Jennifer?
Hi, thank you. I have to agree with what she said. I just think this is so wonderful that COVID kind of brought this whole new world to everyone as far as being able to connect more, because that's what's so important in life, is connecting. And I know when I left the retreat, you know, there was that thought in my mind, I'm going back to Illinois. All these people are still going to be in contact in California. How am I going to be connected? And this has been beautiful. I've had so much connection. And I just have to thank you. You know, when I got the courage to ask you a question on your own one time at the retreat, Mary, you advised me to, or suggested that I do A Course in Miracles and also the discourses, which that's what I went home and I started to organize and do, and got a group of classmates, 10 classmates, to do A Course in Miracles with a unity minister out in Cape Cod, and we started doing it by Zoom the first of the year. So we already started in this process of working together, and it was just, it's still beautiful. We're 5 months into it. We obviously have the whole year to do, but what a blessing, you know, that it's so blends with USM and just builds on it. And it's just really the miracles that we're all seeing and that are occurring. They're just really amazing. And I just wanted to thank you so much for that. And, you know, I look back and I just think, you know, there's that part of, I did love going out to California once a month and leaving Illinois. That part, you know, I would definitely miss with doing Zoom. But, you know, those were 2 years that I'm so thankful that I had USM in my life and you guys, and being able to navigate through a difficult time in my life, but a time in my life that has put me on a whole different direction and opening my world up. And some of the things I've tried to do is getting involved in healing and with different healing groups. So I've been able to do that through Zoom too, which is just how the world's opening up is just amazing, because I came back here and I was like, how do I start some groups? It's still such a small community, and it just really wasn't happening. And it is, and that's such a blessing. And a year ago when I moved into the beautiful house I created, I so wanted to plant flowers, and I am planting flowers all over, and there's the beauty, and I get to appreciate where I live. I live in a beautiful area. I walk out my door and I've got 7 miles of trails that I can go on, and I walk every day and see the beauty. And it's just amazing that, you know, when I left USM, I'm like, how do I do it back in Illinois? You know, there's just not the spiritual level. I can't find the spiritual people. And it's like, I can still stay connected, and it's so important.
And you are, and it looks to me like you're thriving, and I'm just really happy for you.
Yeah, and so thank you so much. And thank you for doing these every 2 weeks. It's just been beautiful to hear all the wonderful things that people are doing and how they're seeing this as a new step for all of us. So thank you.
Really, it's wonderful to be with the community.
Yes.
Really wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see, Rachel Furman.
Hi guys. Oh my God, so good to see you.
Hi Rachel.
Let me get out of the sun. I was washing my dishes while you were talking. So good to see you. You know, when you started talking and you talked about cancer being a reset, I think you know that I've been dealing with cancer for the last year and a half. It's stage 4. And so in a way, I was already resetting my buttons before the COVID. And when it came about, I was like, okay, well, I'm ahead of the curve. And then I have all the tools and all the skills from USM. So I'm really prepared for that. And of course, you know, Ron, you probably remember that we talked on the PhD program. And the cancer was a PhD, and the virus was the post-PhD now for me. Because I feel the acceleration of the growth and the awarenesses, and it's just unreal. And what I've been experiencing, of course, is the growth, and Mary, you know, all those stones that I've been carrying, and you remember how heavy I was when I came into the schools. They're just falling off. All those concepts, all those ideas of who I am and what I need and what I don't need, and everything that we've learned at CHH of like, it just being, you know, it's like, it's a reset after reset. And today, one of my friends was reflecting to me that what I was doing is, I've been eating garbage, and excuse my French, I was pooping sunshine. And the way it expresses itself is when I go every other Monday to the hospital, which I don't want to be at. I don't want to get chemo. I really don't want to be there. But I come in with so much joy. And, you know, when we could hug, I would hug everyone. You know, my doctor, my German doctor, Ron, yeah. The nurses, you know, the receptionists, anybody that I would see, I would hug. And now I can't hug, but I still, you know, bring my humor and lightness of heart. And with the COVID, what was, you know, going on is I had to let go of me not being dependent on people because I'm in a high-risk group. And so I had to let people, you know, ask people to buy stuff for me, and let go of the idea that I can do everything for myself, which nobody can anyways. But what has been happening, which is really interesting, is that people would call and ask how I am. And after 5 seconds of like, you know, I know how I am. I don't want, you know, really, I'm great. Let's talk about you. How are you doing? And it turned into a conversation about them. And by the end of the conversation, we would laugh. And there was always some laughter and some joy. And you know, and today I had 2 phone calls like that we ended up like really, really, really laughing. One of them was with an old client, and you know, and another one was a friend. And it's just a beautiful experience of like, I've never had a better life. I've never experienced my life as a better life. I've never had so much joy. I've never been so present. I've never had so much hope and knowing and depth of understanding and learning. And that is such a blessing. So, you know, of course, I thank you for starting peeling my onion and showing me, you know, and giving me the tools and the skills. And now it's like beyond the understanding, it's embodying it. It's really embodying who I truly am. And that all I am is love and light. And all my job is to be love and light and joy. And that's what I've been working on. I've been working every day to increase my joy. Like really, rather than going and getting more clients and reaching out and, you know, I got the understanding that my job here is to be as joyful as I can and to replenish that and to build on that. And that gave me such, you know, such a task. You know, I know what I need to do. And it is not depending on anything or any circumstance. It just depends on spirit and connecting to who I truly am. So really, 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 really thank you and everyone and all this beautiful community.
Thank you. And thank you so much for what you shared, Rachel, the part about you know your job and your job is the joy and just being the joy and sharing that. And it just touches my heart. It brings tears to my eyes. I just acknowledge you. Would you like the community, those that are gathered here, to send you a blessing of healing light for your highest good, Rachel? Beautiful. All right. So Father, Mother God, once again, we ask for the clearing. We ask for the light of the Holy Spirit, that light of living love, to be present here. And we focalize a blessing of healing, loving, and light to Rachel Furman and service to her health, her healing and well-being. We ask that grace be extended to her in accordance with her highest good. And we're deeply grateful for this privilege and opportunity to serve. So be it.
So thank you.
God bless you, Rachel. Thank you. Tracy?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Tracy.
Hi. I feel like I've learned so much from everybody's sharing today already. When kind of answered some of my questions, and you talked about consciousness, and I have a question for you both. I feel like I'm growing as a healer, and I'm doing so much healing work, and I graduated from the counseling psychology program, and I just want to share many years ago now, 2008, but every day I try to share my loving and help people remember the truth of who they are and uplift. And I've been doing some healing work with Mother Mary on the planet around this virus and helping with a blueprint for everybody to be able to tap into that is involved. It's like a healing blueprint. So the information of how to heal from it is available to everybody who would want it or is for their highest good. I think what I'm struggling with is I'm noticing with some of my clients and also in extended family members of people kind of getting into a place of like conspiracy theories. And while I think there might be elements that have truth, it seems like it goes into like a lot of paranoia and low energy and like a darkness. And as an empath, I can kind of feel it. And I want to stay in the light, and I'm not in that consciousness, but I observe that people I love are going there, and I sometimes just don't know how to hold it. Like, I know I want to be a neutral observer, but it does make me sad.
Mm-hmm.
See, one of the things that it is so important to remember is that the majority of people on this planet at this time do not operate within the awareness of a loving consciousness. Right. This is not a bad thing any more than someone's in 5th grade rather than in 8th grade. It's a question of evolution. It's a question of awakening. It's a process that goes on for many lifetimes. And so those of us who have the awareness of that context, in a way, we're in a more challenging situation because we can see something much more clearly than somebody else can, but we have to make allowance for their not yet seeing it, rather than demand that they see it. See, if we make demands that they see it, then we become them.
Right.
And so we have to take a deep breath and just sit back and say, thy will be done. And where I need to be is in compassion. And that word is becoming so much more important to me these days, compassion. Remembering that the word passion really means suffering. Passion of the Christ, the suffering. And when you add C-O-M to it, it's like company or companion. It brings a togetherness to it. So a person of high compassion is someone who can be with someone who is still in the suffering and yet not make demands and make that okay and give them what they really need, which is loving, whether they realize it or not. Now that may sound a little highfalutin, but it's true. And so, see, we have the greater responsibility because we have to hold the higher consciousness.
Right.
But that's what we signed up for.
And so my opportunity would be to trust that they're where they need to be in their journey and just hold them in the loving and know it's enough. Because I think I get into like is it enough? Maybe I guess.
It's not even there where they need to be. They're where they are.
Okay.
And who are we to say they should be in a different place?
Right.
And so that's what gives us the ability to move into the compassion, which is a little different from sympathy.
Right.
Because sympathy, you get in there with them and you both wallow together.
Right.
When you're in compassion, you throw them a rope, but they have to climb out.
I think that's what's hard is sometimes I feel it and I see them turning away from the rope.
No.
Yes, yes. You know, and it's so interesting because part of the dynamic of conspiracy theory is there's like elements of paranoia and victimization in it.
Yes.
And so very often then the people that are looking through that lens are seeing themselves and others as victims of some unknown kind of mysterious force or group. And so what Ron was sharing with you to me seems very, very important. And since you are attuned to other people's emotional energy, it's going to be very important to maintain the high vibrational frequency that you carry, that frequency of love, rather than falling into sympathy with them.
Right.
And letting go of any part that would want to rescue or for them to have a change of consciousness or reference. And you know, it's very interesting because, as you said, sometimes people just aren't ready yet. And you know, but the quote that Ron shared at the beginning, could you read that, Ron?
Yeah, the people that you're talking about simply are not yet far enough along in their evolution where they can, as David Hawkins said, see one's own personal consciousness as the decisive influence that determines all that occurs in one's life. They have not yet been willing to accept that level of responsibility. It's a big step.
Yes.
And if I may gently suggest, since there are a number of these people around you, and it sounds like some of them are part of family.
Mm-hmm. Extended family, yeah.
Extended family. You know, in light of that quote, it's like, well, then a question that you can consider is, are they mirroring in some way, some subtle place in my own consciousness where there is still some shred of misidentification of myself as a victim?
Okay.
And this is not bad. It's just like, well, what is the attractor field that is bringing this vibrational frequency of these particular people with this pattern? It's not a negative about you. It just may be an opportunity for further refining.
Yes.
Of the subtle levels within your own consciousness.
Well, I don't think I will look at the mirror. I don't think they're very attracted to hanging out with me. And
yes,
it's a little hard for me to hang out with them because the energy feels lower. But I just love them. I don't really want to lose them. And yet, that's kind of where it is. you know,
Yes.
it's uncomfortable, but, and I will take that feedback around looking and where that might be in me.
Is there any subtle shred?
Right.
Because the victim is one of the archetypes. There are many archetypes, but it's one of the 4 major archetypes that are prevalent within consciousness. And even though we may have done a great deal of work within our own psyche and cleared and resolved and healed so many things, yet sometimes there can be a subtle level, and it can be a simple question. It's like, and this might have to do with what seems like really old story, Tracy, from long ago.
Okay.
Um,
I can see where we're going with that now. Yeah. I feel sometimes like I've been through a lot in this life. So there could be a victim part in that. Like it's been like a little too hard. So yeah, I could evaluate that or kind of be present with it.
yes, just attune to it and see. It's like, is there a place inside of me where there's some, and again, it can be very subtle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Very, very subtle, because I know what a beautiful consciousness you have, what beautiful service you are doing, how you embody the presence of love, and you bring that to the people that you are serving. And so this is not a negative at all. It's just an opportunity perhaps for a subtle level of refinement.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you both. Thank you so much for helping me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Let's see. How about Rob Donaldson?
Hey there, this is Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure my audio is okay. Thank you so much, as everyone has said, for doing these. I think I've been at each one of these except I missed one, but I've just loved it. It's such a wonderful way to reconnect with the energy. And I was prompted to share, Ron, when you were sharing about compassion. I've really appreciated in everything everyone's sharing so far, and you know, that being with the suffering. I think, you know, where I'm at with this situation that we're in right now is intellectually, mentally, I agree with everything that people are sharing about the gifts and the opportunity and the reset. I mean, I'm in full agreement with all of that. Experientially, I'm finding myself very depleted of energy. And I'm finding that I am holding a balance where I'm of service to others as part. I'm so blessed to have a job where I work at home. It's all done on the telephone. It's clinical work with a major insurance company where I'm just dealing one-on-one with people. I have nothing to do with like the claims or the bureaucracy. I just directly talk to people. A lot of the people I speak with, I sort of have the specialty of the cancer patients and addiction issues. So they're fairly robust, intense conversations. And I'm very depleted at the end of the day. I'm just depleted. And that's new for me because, you know, I've done this work for quite a long time. And I usually find the opposite, where like I could be depleted at the beginning and then I have my connections with people doing my work and I'm charged up and I'm like, and so now I'm finding that like my support has sort of gone away. You know, the support that I would do in the evenings, the self-care routines that I had in place, the fellowship I had with other people, the connections where I would go replenish my own well, they're not there right now. And I'm in gratitude. So I hold the gratitude and I don't feel like I'm taking on this, I'm fairly effective clearing myself, so I don't feel like I'm taking on material of other people that I'm talking to, but I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm just like, oh, And that's unusual. And the compassion, as you were sharing that, I was like, I really need to turn that compassion for myself, you know, and have that compassion. And the other thing is, it's interesting, a few days ago, I signed up for this online course on compassion fatigue. And so I'm doing studying the scientific research of this compassion fatigue. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is like an incubation period where if I do this material myself, I can combine like the scientific research of compassion fatigue with the skills of spiritual psychology and maybe help frontline care workers. But it's got to start with me. I've got to figure out, you know, it's like my incubation period. Maybe this is like I'm in a significant chapter of my biography that's playing out and I don't know exactly.
One of the things that we're aware of it, first of all, in ourselves. And then because we're with a lot of people that are working with a lot of people. And almost everybody that I talk to, as I said, including ourselves, we are tired. We are tired. And I think that the reason for it is, it's not like we're working so hard more than we used to. It's that Spirit is using us. We're like the loving bank, in a sense, that is being used to share with other people. And so we're giving in that way, in support of that which is happening on this planet at this time. So I'm not saying that's what it's all about. I'm just saying don't overlook that possibility, because you are not alone in feeling that way. I mean, I get into bed every single night. I go, thank God, this has become my favorite time of the day.
Right, exactly. And it's become earlier and earlier time of day too.
Yeah. And it's not unusual for us to sleep 8, 9, sometimes 10 hours a night. But I think that's just all part of the way that we are participating in this thing. So I just throw that out for you.
That's very helpful. Thank you. Yeah.
And the other thing I would add, Rob, excuse me, is that during this time, I have felt the need to increase my spiritual practice, to really become very devoted at a new level to my own spiritual self-care and replenishment, and also on the physical level as well, because you are working with people. There's a certain energy exchange in that, but I hear you acknowledging that some of the ways that did feed you are no longer present in your life because of the conditions of the time. But I encourage you in your spiritual practice. I encourage you between each session, do you get up and drink water and just let go of that particular energy?
I do a bit. I could be a little, I could, as you're saying that, I'm realizing, you know what, I could be much more intentional with that. Yes, I do, but sometimes I get into the flow and it's not, that's a good suggestion, to be just very intentional and deliberate with that.
Yes, and I don't know if you light a candle when you're working.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Right next to my desk.
But these are simple things, and also your own physical activity during this time, whether it's walking or whatever, but so important just to help let go of the energy of the day, and also to keep your own body vibrant and energized during this time. You know, and sometimes it's valuable just to ask yourself and ask Spirit, what is depleting me? Is there something that's depleting me? Is there some way I'm leaking energy right now?
Yeah.
And sometimes,
Spirit.
yes, sometimes in the CHH program, we talked about it more in those terms because we were referencing some of Carolyn Mace's work, and she talks about energy leakage through unresolved issues,
Yeah.
material in the unconscious, etc. And so sometimes just even doing freeform writing, Rob, and putting at the top of the paper energy leakage, and just start writing, with no thought or trying to figure it out, just see whatever comes up, see if there is something that is an energy leakage at this time. And just what came to me when I said that, I don't know, you'll have to see whether this is relevant, is whether there was a time in your life where there was like deprivation or kind of neglect.
Sure.
And whether this time, the vibration of this particular time that we're going through may in some way be resonant with that. It's just what comes to me, Rob.
I'll let that sort of percolate here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
That's very helpful feedback from both of you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Wonderful to see you. Thank you.
See you. Thanks so much.
Let's see here. Penelope.
Hello.
Hi.
It's nice to see you guys, and I wanted to thank everybody for their share. I just have not been in this energy for such a long time, and I'm looking for someone to blame. No. To be a little concise, I just thought it would be great for me to get some feedback and get an idea of a tool, or just, sort of your insights. So I'm just going to share a few things that have been very significant recently. A few years ago, I was feeling very heartbroken. And I would speak in terms of that, oh, that breaks my heart, or that, that's a real punch in the heart, all the time. And I was feeling incredibly fatigued, sometimes confused, all these things. And I was so isolated and just so sad about a lot of things in work, and feeling alone. And anyway, I would say it. So I ended up just saying, I've got to get out of here. And I moved to Florida to live with my parents, and everybody was saying to me, where are you going? But I moved there, and within a few weeks, it turned out I had a heart problem, and my heart was turning off.
Wow.
And I was having heart failure. So they had to study it for a long time. But eventually it just, I was going to die. So I had to get a pacemaker. And at that point I was really depleted. And then I've been back in California for a few years, but it has been so hard. Everything's been hard. And I kept saying, oh, it's blowing my mind. I mean, this is crazy, and I don't understand. And anyway, then more recently, I ended up with a brain tumor. And it's benign, but if it grows, it will be a problem. I think it may not grow, but I feel like I'm afraid of myself. And I really, I relate very much to sort of the victim. I feel that way a little bit by some circumstances and things that have gone wrong, and just I'm feeling very maybe left out, or maybe I don't know if there's a place for me. And yeah, I feel diminished and like I'm disappearing. And so I'm feeling sort of lost and afraid. And, but anyway, it's really wonderful to be back in this environment. And I'm like hearing tools and ideas that I think I forgot. So I've taken some notes, but I thought I'd also just to kind of have somewhere to start, or I thought I would get some feedback, because I think it's all good, but specificity might help.
Yes, yes. If you have a copy of either of our books, Remembering the Light Within or Loyalty to Your Soul, I encourage you to look in the appendix and actually read out loud the principles. Read them out loud, because the principles provide entrance into the spiritual context. The spiritual context helps you remember that you are a divine being having and using a human experience for the purpose of awakening, of remembering your essential nature, that you are the presence of love, that you are divine. So part of what I can appreciate with the heart, the broken heart, and then developing a heart condition, part of what it seems like you're becoming more aware of is the power of the word, the power of your word as creating within your own consciousness and within your own body. There's a book, I believe the name of it is Your Body. It's either Your Body Hears Everything You Say. I think it's Your Body Believes Everything You Say, and how important language is relative to our body and various conditions. I know in working with people who have a diagnosis of cancer, I encourage them not to say, I have cancer. Just say, I received a diagnosis of cancer. Again, it just like buffers it a bit instead of identifying with it. And one of the other things that I encourage you to do is to do some research for information about the power of visualization to transform physical conditions. There was a little book called Why Me? It was about a young boy who was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And the book is a combination of his work with a therapist. He and his therapist co-authored it, and he had some incredible visualizations that he did that led to the complete dissolving of the tumor. It was really quite profound. And this is only one example. There are many, many examples of this kind of thing. So I encourage you to look into that, because visualization is very powerful. We are powerful beings. We are co-creators with God. We have healing power within, as someone was mentioning earlier in the evening in their sharing.
I'm going to let you pick one of these two answers.
Let's see. Okay.
I know. Perfect. Okay.
So I do encourage you in that. And I also encourage you in, if you have any judgments of yourself and what you've created, to really allow your heart to soften. Allow for a softening in your heart, such that you could come into the knowing that you absolutely did and have done the best you could. And that these experiences ultimately are for you. They're not to punish you. They're not against you. And to find the place of softening, of self-compassion, and working with compassionate self-forgiveness of any judgments. And affirming your essential nature. I am the loving. I am lovable. That one is so important, Penelope. I am loving and I am lovable. I am the love.
Okay. Thank you.
Something else that you might do, and that is when you get up in the morning, upon awakening, that your first prayer would be, Lord, please show me ways today that I can be of service.
Okay.
So in that realization, you are every time you do something that's of service, you are adding to the sum total of the loving that exists in creation.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your sharing. Thank you.
We probably have time for one more.
One more? Okay, let's see here. Kelly?
Hello there. I am checking in from Colorado. It's so good to see you.
Wonderful.
Wanted to do a special shout out for the class of 2000 that this is our 20th year anniversary. And Michelle is on the call. She was on my project team and so many other graduates. It's just so nice to be here. And just hearing your voice, I was just able to drop right in.
It's so beautiful. And I just want to say, Kelly, the tech support sitting with us here tonight is one of your classmates, Mike Pollock.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Hi, Kelly.
Yes. So thank you so much. And I just wanted to let you know that I have found my lane, and I have been working in elder care for about 10 years.
Oh, my.
It is extraordinary. And I've been able to help families all over the country. And it is such a departure from my days in the fashion industry and the entertainment industry. And now I get to talk about bedpans and walkers and incontinence and all these lovely fun things that I get to share with people. But I use my USM skills all the time.
Yes.
And really being able to see the loving essence in whatever behavioral expressions that my clients with dementia have, or that their families are going through in the process, but to be able to stand in loving support to them. And I finally stepped into just this year that I'm a spiritual practitioner, and I've never claimed that for myself before, that I am actually ushering these families through a crisis and helping the souls pass on. Many of them during COVID, it's been quite interesting, say it that way. Very, very interesting, but to be able to hold loving support for them. So I just wanted to express my gratitude and my thanks to you, to all of my classmates, to the administrative staff with USM for the ways that we've all been able to grow together here over the years. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for your sharing. It just brings so much joy hearing from you and hearing from others this evening, sharing the beautiful ways that you are the presence of love and that you're serving. Just really lovely. Thank you very much, Kelly. Well, how about if we're coming towards the end of our time, how about if we move into a guided meditation by way of completing. And for those of you that had your hands up that we didn't have the opportunity to share with, no, we would love to share with all of you. And we're just grateful for everyone gathering and your participation. So, well, Father, Mother, God, once again, we center ourselves in your loving, that is our loving. We're grateful for the gathering, for the conscious awakening into the awareness of our loving nature, for the experiences of the magnificence of our soul essence. Knowing that the presence of love flowing through us, emanating from us, touching to others, is one of the most beautiful expressions of loyalty to your soul. That as you walk in this world awake to love, that not only do you bring blessings to the many around you, but you yourself are blessed through this process. And also know that when you're in moments of experiencing your own curriculum, the issues that you came to learn through and heal, that bringing forward self-compassion and compassionate self-forgiveness are ways that you heal yourself. You release the ties that bind you. You let go of the judgments and whatever emotional energy may have been stored within your consciousness. And in so doing, you lift up on the soul line. You're awakening into the awareness of your true self, the majesty of your soul. It's beautiful to remember that growth is a process, not an event, and that one of the foundational basic skills what's coming forward is actually to mention a few of them, seeing the loving essence. What a gift that we can see with the eyes of our heart, that we can see with soul-centered eyes, heart-centered listening, that we know how to listen with the ears of our heart, to hear others and to give them that great gift of truly hearing them, truly seeing them, and that we also can practice heart-centered listening with ourselves, where we listen to the wisdom of our heart. We listen to the ones inside that may be at times bringing forward unresolved material such that we can flood our consciousness with loving that we can apply loving to the parts inside that hurt. What a blessing that we know how to do this and that we can be with ourselves in this way, remembering that how we relate to ourselves while we go through the issue is indeed the opportunity. Another empowering skill that you have is a responsibility, one choice, the opportunity to become aware of both the inner and outer choices that you have been making, and that you have the freedom to choose other choices, both inwardly and outwardly. Choices that are self-honoring, choices that are liberating, that we do indeed have the freedom to choose. And upon that foundation, we then have responsibility to ownership, which is the opportunity to recognize that our consciousness is our domain, that when material surfaces inside, that we can acknowledge it, accept it, and recognize that we can work that material, that we have the tools of working our process, that we can hear the younger ones inside, we can hear emotions, we can hear the limiting interpretations, and that we have the most powerful key through compassionate self-forgiveness, that we can soften in our own hearts, knowing that all these experiences are brought to us. Even the COVID-19 is being brought to us such that we can awaken more into the awareness of who we are, that we can answer the call to awaken into the full experience of ourselves as divine love, and that we can walk in the world in that consciousness, bringing loving and light wherever we go, to all people, all situations, and all circumstances. We ask a blessing of love at this time for all humanity and of healing grace, that whatever negativity, dis-ease, or imbalance can be lifted and cleared at this time. We ask that that be done in accordance with the divine will. And we are so, so grateful for the privilege and blessings of being part of this beautiful community of conscious beings. And in gratitude, we say namaste.
Namaste.
Was stunning. Mary, thank you so much for that incredible meditation and journey through the basic skills that I know live in me, but sometimes I forget what they're called. And I'm so present to the love, and I'm so present to this community. And, you know, hearing the 2020 reunion, and it's my 10-year reunion, I guess, which I didn't realize, and the courageous shares tonight. And I love what you shared with Penelope about revisiting the principles in the book. And to that, I'm going to share a slide with you guys and let you know, for anybody who just feels like they need a dip in, a remembrance, and all those things, there is this incredible book out there. There's two, but this is the one, you know, for tonight. Loyalty to Your Soul, The Heart of Spiritual Psychology by Drs. Ron and Mary Holnick. It does have the principles listed in the back. It has all those skills that Mary beautifully mentioned tonight. I'm going to read that quote since you mentioned Carolyn Mace so many times tonight. I'm going to say, a stunning masterpiece of primary importance. Indeed. The other thing I want to point out about this slide, which is very exciting, is there is an audio book on Audible, which Ron and Mary put so much love and devotion into. And it's like being in the classroom and having our community right there in the palm of your hand. So you can go to Amazon.com, or you can go to ronandmaryholnick.com to purchase and have and own and love all of these. And plus there's also Remembering the Light Within, of course, on those available at those places. And I know I was looking for my copy, but I gave all my copies away. It's also another really great way to introduce the people in your life to this work. So I wanted to share that with you and just say thank you to Ron and Mary and to the whole community for this incredible gathering.
Thank you, Eliza, and thank you, everyone. We love you. Thank you.
And it's good that I don't have to say, drive home carefully.
I'm going to allow you guys to unmute yourselves so we can all say goodbye like we do. And we love you. God bless you. And we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Bye,
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Everybody.
Good night.
Hi, God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Health
much.
and happiness.
Bye.
Bye.
So great to see you.
Thank you.
Bye.